I remember I was at this jam session once, and a bass player from New York, this was in San Francisco, and a bass player from New York was at the session and was talking to a younger kid who had sat in, who was about to go off to college to study jazz. And this bass player said, just don't forget that this is not sports. This is art. I think it's kind of actually sports. At least it has a lot in common with sports. So just like in sports, you've got to practice deliberately to get better. You can't just sit around and hope for it. You've kind of got to have a little bit of a plan, a little bit of focus. You've got to do repetitions. You're playing basketball. You've got to do layup shots over and over and over again so that when you need it, you have that skill. And music is kind of the same way, especially improvised music like jazz. So you're not just going to get there automatically. There needs to be a little bit of effort put into training kind of like an athlete. So with that in mind, here's 5 things I've found helpful for me when I'm in a period where I need to go up a level and try to get better.
1. Clean the kitchen.
I don't know why for me, it's about the kitchen. I know a lot of people are like, make your bed. For me, clean the kitchen. There's something about the kitchen just being a place where creativity can happen, where there's fire and water, there's elements, there's cold, there's hot, refrigerators, freezers, all that stuff. And there's something about having the dishes cleaned. Okay, maybe some dishes on the drying rack. I'll give you that. That's cool, but they're clean and they're stacked in some sort of order. There's something about the vibe that happens when your kitchen's cleaned that for me, I find lets me get to the rest of my life a little bit more. It helps clear my mind a little bit more. There's something about having definitely I think it's because there's food involved. There's something about having food, old food, crumbs, dude, crumbs in your bed. Think about crumbs suck. You got to get rid of the crumbs. If you've got crumbs all over your kitchen counter, if you've got plates with crumbs and a bite out of a pizza with just the crust with little bite half circles in it, how the frack are you supposed to actually get inspired and get everything done when you walk out to get a cup of water and there's half-eaten freaking crap everywhere? So definitely cleaning the kitchen, step 1, is going to be the precursor to you having the clarity in your space and the clarity in your mind to be able to move forward with the plan.
2. Get a journal.
I personally feel that 80% of the benefit can come from 20% of the work when it comes to journaling. I know some people are super serious about their journaling. For me, my inner slacker doesn't like to be too organized. So I find that even if you don't have a big giant vision statement and long plans for the week and plans for the month and where you want to be, I mean, sure, if you're an A student and that's how you work, maybe that's how you get to greatness, and maybe that's why most people don't. But I feel like I've gotten to a level of goodness with this kind of more 80-20 principle and jotting down a list of the things that I know I need to work on for that day. I'll jot those down and then I put a number of minutes next to that item. And I make a list. Let's say I know I have an hour. Maybe I'll put 3 things down on the list or 4. It could be something just like E flat major scales all over the fingerboard, some sort of lick, and then work out something in a tune or something, right? Whatever those things that I know I need to be working on. And then I put the amount of minutes I have for each one of those in that list right next to it. Then I open my phone, I hit the timer, and it counts down from whatever the time allotted for that one item was. It sounds really easy, right? You're like, why am I watching a YouTube video for someone to tell me something so basic? But have you done it? The timer goes off, bing, 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 or whatever sound you like, living la vida loca. I know that's what your alarm tone is. So once that goes off, you circle that 20 or 15 minute number or whatever, and that shows you did it. And then boom, you hit the timer for that next number. It goes down, living la vida loca. You hear that song, you're like, I'm done. and you just go down the list. And then lo and behold, an hour goes by and you actually did an hour of focused practice hitting those things. Even if you just make a plan for the day on the daily basis, those things are kind of on the top of your mind. And so you will start getting repetitive practice over the days on those items, and you'll see the progress unfold. Definitely look into doing the practice journal.
3. Triage.
Okay, you're picturing some like cliche, like, war movie or like some Vikings thing or something. And there's a bunch of injured people, right? And they got to go to the medic tent or wherever. And there's not enough medical personnel to treat everybody. So they have to triage. So the person that's bleeding out and isn't going to make it unless they get care immediately, they get care. The person who just kind of hurts a little bit and they might need a stint because they got a broken bone or something, but that can wait, they have to wait. Those medics and those doctors, they triage that care. So you're the medic, you're the doctor for your terrible skills on your instrument, right? So you need to triage this. So what's bleeding? What's the thing that needs to be taken care of first? What's the thing that's always getting in your way? What's that thing that needs the attention first? Put that at the top of your list, because it's going to happen where you're doing your list and you're putting the times there and you might not get to the last item. The phone rings. Ideally your phone should be turned off so you can focus, but who does that? So your phone rings or whatever happens and social media sabotages you because so-and-so said something about that chick or whatever. And now you're distracted and you actually ran out of time before you could get to the last item on your list. You need to make sure that you got to the thing that's bleeding first so that it gets done.
4. Play with other humanoid life forms.
I've always had a tough time with this. I'm sure everybody or a lot of people have a tough time with this, and that's playing with other people. You're putting yourself out there. You're being accountable for being able to hold your end of the bargain. And if you're a drummer, your end of the bargain is you're the one playing drums, and you got to hopefully have a good time and, play fills where they're appropriate and not play fills where they're not, right? And you might mess that up and you might get judged. Or you might not mess it up and all of a sudden you find yourself judging other people. That's not a great feeling either, but it happens. So there's all this social interaction part of music that's a little uncomfortable. And so it's easy to hide behind, I'm not ready. Or, I just need to practice this one little thing and then I'll be ready. Or I'll do it. I'll go to that jam session next week, right? I think we've all been there. And here's the thing. You're not going to get better if you don't play with other people. All stop. Let me say that one more time. You will not get better if you don't play with other people. Why? Here's why. Remember that step 3 we were just talking about? Triaging? Well, how do you know what to triage? You don't know what to triage. You think you know what to triage, but you don't know what to triage until you start playing with other people. You get in touch with some guys on Craigslist or wherever. You're kind of nervous. You don't feel ready, but you push yourself to do it anyways. I guarantee you, the thing that you're afraid of, you're probably going to be fine on that. The thing that you fall on your face from, it wasn't on your radar. You weren't expecting that. You were like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I don't know how to trade 4s on a song like Alone Together. That's got, 2 A sections that are 14 measures long. I didn't know what to do on the trading there. I never thought of that. Well, now you're going to have to go find out because that was illuminated. That's going to be important. You're going to put that in that triage for step 3. You're going to put that in that triage list, maybe even just for one practice day or 2. And then it clicks. And it's like, oh, okay, that's good. But you fixed it. Then you go back to that session again or to play with those guys again the next week. And someone calls Alone Together again because that's like their only tune they know and they call it every time. And now you go to the trading and you're like, I got this, right? So you start filling in those holes by playing with other people.
5. Lighten up.
I think it's really easy for us to bag on ourselves, to take things really seriously, to take the music too seriously. I don't know what everybody's experiences were if you went to, let's say, music school at the college level or even like a competitive high school level, but there's a huge focus on greatness. There's a big focus on standing in the shadows of giants. There's a focus on the tradition. And if you want to be a part of that tradition, you need to aspire to the greatness that has come before. And that's all true. But at the same time, that's a crushing load to carry on yourself. And ultimately, I don't want to say that stuff doesn't matter, because two things can be true at the same time. And here's an example of that. The weight of the history of any genre, jazz, or, if you're into metal, there's a huge history there. The weight of all that is true, and respecting those who came before you and studying those who came before you and respecting all that is absolutely true. At the same time, it's also true that it doesn't really matter. As long as in your heart you have that respect, lighten up about it. Yes, care about paying respect to the music by not just phoning it in and disrespecting it. But I feel that as long as your heart is with your music and your heart is with yourself, then you're not doing anybody any good by being so hard on yourself that you can't pick up your instrument, so hard on yourself that you're afraid to get together with other people. That's totally missing the point. The less you care in that kind of like OCD, I care, and you're holding it and you care so much, the less you do that and the more relaxed you can be about it and the more you can lighten up about it, actually the better you're going to get, the faster you're going to go, because you're going to have a lightheartedness. I've seen this in the scene. When I was in the SF scene before the pandemic, I feel like I held on a little tight, and I took things a little seriously, and I saw players that maybe technically weren't as good as me. Maybe they didn't have as good a feel as me, or both. But I saw players that just had a lighter attitude. They were just lighter about it, and they didn't take it so seriously. And sometimes I say, oh, this guy, he doesn't take the music seriously. But then it's like, well, that guy's getting gigs. Like, I mean, I got gigs too, but like that guy's getting like better gigs, and that guy's getting better gigs with better players, and that guy's getting all this and the other thing. And what's the difference? I'm as good as he is. And I'm not the kind of person that has like resentment or jealousy. I mean, I was like, good for him. There's room for everybody, right? If you're putting in the work, there's room for you. So it wasn't like about wanting to take away from anybody, but it was just me not getting like, what? And then I realized that person's not getting in their own way. They're keeping it light. They're keeping it fun, and they're comfortable with themselves enough to just go out there and do them and to not really worry about it. So that's five things you can do today. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.